Fierce, funny, a proud feminist, Colorado's first Congresswoman, Pat Schroeder, passed away last night. First woman in Congress from our state. She was elected in 1972, and at that time, she was just one of 17 women serving in the House. A pilot, a Harvard-trained lawyer. She went on to be reelected 11 times from the 1st District, and over the 24 years that she represented the Denver metro area, many things changed, including family leave, and many people were changed by Pat Schroeder. She was a force in Colorado and American politics. Pat Schroeder was 82 years old. And when Congresswoman Schroeder decided not to run again in 1996, Diana DeGette won that seat, and she continues to serve District 1. She's joining us now today. I know we've been talking about this. It's taken a little while to process this news.
It was such a surprise, Kim, because I was just in touch with Pat a few weeks ago, and she was vibrant, she was engaged, she had an opinion on everything, as always, and so to hear this news was just shocking to everybody this morning.
Yeah, when we talk about her and we talk about what a pioneer she was, to talk about women's rights and family leave and the infamous one-liner, I have a uterus and I have a brain and I can use both. As a mom going into Congress, she really thought about women and how she could make a change.
Well, when she was elected to Congress, she was only 32 years old, and her kids were 2 and 6. That's why someone said, do you think someone with young children can serve in Congress? And that's when she said, I have a uterus and a brain. But she spent all of her whole career trying to fight for family rights, for women's reproductive rights, and yet she did it in a way that was classy and with a wry wit that will never be matched.
Yeah, she had some one-liners that will forever be remembered.
She's the one who coined the Teflon president about Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, she wasn't afraid to put her opinion out there, but to back it with a lot of fact.
Yeah,
and
she knew what she was doing.
When you talk about the number of women in Congress at the time, now, compare it to now.
So it was 17 when she came, and now I think it's 98 Democratic women and even more who are Republicans too. So it's up to 1/3 of Congress, I think, but half the Democratic caucus almost is female. And that's due to people like Pat Schroeder and the other few women that were there then. But she was the only one who came in with small kids.
Yeah. When you talk about that, what's her legacy in your mind? Is it, I know there were so many things when you put your name on things, all the years you've been in Congress, you have certain things that matter the most.
Well, the Family and Medical Leave Act, all of the work she did for veterans. She was the first woman to serve on the Armed Services Committee. But here at home, she told me this, her proudest accomplishment was decommissioning the Rocky Mountain Arsenal and turning it into a beautiful wildlife refuge. It was the most contaminated site in the United States from army munitions, and she was able to get it made into a beautiful, beautiful open wilderness area. Well, not a wilderness area, but an open space. And so she had so much legacy, but her biggest legacy of all was inspiring people like me to think big. I was in high school when Pat Schroeder was elected to Congress, and so I was able to think about opportunities for young women like me and everybody. I only ever voted for 2 women, or 2 people for Congress, Pat Schroeder and myself.
That idea of giving a hand up, she really got that. She understood the importance and significance. And for many of us, we remember when she toyed with that run for president, and a lot of people thought she could really do it. And then she said, forget it. I don't want to do this. I don't enjoy this fundraising aspect of it. But she was so emotional in her decision, and there were those that criticized her for that. And I think back now thinking, why would you be emotional in that decision?
Well, I think she made it acceptable, not just for women to be emotional at moments like that, but men too. And we see this. John Boehner, for example, when he was Speaker of the House, he used to cry frequently. I just saw him crying recently at the retirement or the speakership retirement ceremony for Nancy Pelosi. So I think Pat made it acceptable to be a real person, and that's what Pat was. She was a genuine person. She was brilliant, she was smart, and she was very witty, but she was so real.
So real.
So real.
I know we got an email today about her role in Children's Museum. So many things. We could talk forever, but thank you for spending time to share some of your memories.
It's an honor.
I know you said you just got a Valentine's Day card from her.
Yes, she just sent me a Valentine a couple of weeks ago because she found out that I had a new grandbaby, and she wanted to congratulate me, and she wanted to invite me to come see her in Florida. So I'm saving that Valentine.
Well, I'm sorry for you too, because you were close. My
Yeah,
sympathy
she
to you.
mentored me. She mentored me. She used to contact me on a frequent basis when I was first elected because she knew how hard it was. My kids were 2 and 6, just like hers were when she was elected. So she was right there for me all those years.
Thank you, Congressman DeGette, for coming in, and to the family of Pat Schroeder. We're thinking about you, and just glad that she was able to share so much of her life with the people of Colorado and around the country. Thank you.
Thank you.